Every year, the stock market goes up about 10% on average. And really, that's the target that all investors are looking for them to beat the benchmark. To determine whether or not they actually underperform or outperform the market, they need to break over this 10% year to date. And in most cases, people actually underperform this, and they would actually be better just dollar cost averaging into the market. But for me, and probably for you, this is not good enough. We're really looking to outperform, to beat the market every single year as a trader. And probably one of the most effective ways for us to actually do so is by identifying key themes in the market or trends that are going to influence how not only the government, but people and businesses, how they allocate their capital, which will ultimately show up in the bottom line, right? There'll be changes in governments and policies. Even investors will chase after specific themes or trends to take advantage in the markets, right? And if you've been looking at the stock market for at least a few years, you would identify, we've seen a lot of these trends in the past. We had the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s with the internet, and then that led to e-commerce, as well as people started using mobile phones. That shaped how people interacted with businesses and ultimately showed up in the bottom line of of specific companies that were taking advantage of these things. And then from 2009 to 2020, this was really the rise of big tech, the Internet of Things. You saw Amazon start to do really well with retail, and then like AWS, hosting, the digitalization. Apple did really well. Same thing with Google. Really, all the Mag 7 stocks performed really well during this period of time. And then you started to see the rise of Tesla, right? The electronification of vehicles, as well as full self-driving, autonomous vehicles. You could have done really well back in like 2018 to 2021 in these electrical vehicle stocks. And then really the theme, of course, in the last 5 years has all been on AI, artificial intelligence. This is really the fourth industrial revolution that we're seeing here, right? This is changing the landscape of so many different industries. And then we're also starting to see the rise of some of these subcategories like space, right? Space has been a big theme in the last few weeks, with SpaceX potentially IPOing next year. You had companies like Rocket Lab and ASTS do really well. And then quantum is starting to pick up as well. Like, obviously D-Wave, Quantum, Rigetti. There's these other stocks that have done really well in this space. And then nuclear is also now becoming a bit of a more realistic thing in the next 5 years or so. You have Oklo that just struck a deal with Meta to help power their data centers. So there's changes in contracts and business deals that are happening based on these different themes and trends that we're seeing in the market. Now for 2026, what I think is going to be the most important thing, and obviously like we had the AI Genesis mission, we have that race to super intelligence with China, but in 2026, the biggest thing that I think is going to do well as it's a lot safer than some of these more speculative sectors, is going to be energy, right? Energy is the foundation of everything. It powers the AI, all of the compute that's needed. We require energy, enormous amounts of it. And right now, the US economy, the power grid, we are able to generate about 1.2 to 1.3 terawatts of energy every year. This is the capacity, right? But the problem with this is that we're at any given time only doing about maybe 400 to 700 during like peak summer months of gigawatt hours. That's really like the runtime, the utilization of that capacity, right? So not only are we don't have enough energy to actually support all the compute that's needed to power AI, which is going to ultimately power a lot of the technological innovation over the next 10, 20, 50, 100 years. All of that compute that's needed needs energy. And right now, China is doing a very good job of producing more energy. And probably one of the most effective ways that they're producing energy is through solar. Right now, they do about 80% of all the world's manufacturing of solar is done by China, right? So China has the energy edge over the USA, and the USA is trying to catch up as fast as possible to China because energy is required to actually run the data center, right? So that is going to be a major theme is energy, but also what I'm really focused on specifically is solar, which if you've been watching my videos like T1 Energy, that is one of the stocks that I'm very, very bullish on. The ticker is TE. But also, funny enough, because we have this major gap here of utilization to capacity, well, the only way to bridge that gap is through storage, right? We need batteries. Batteries are going to be another area where I'm very bullish on. I can't even spell battery, but you get my case, right? Battery is going to be the second area that I'm focused on. So solar and then battery, and the company that I want for this is EOS Energy Enterprises and T1 Energy. These are the companies that I'm looking at. And funny enough, both of these companies are US based. US based is very important, right? Because right now, what we're seeing in the marketplace is the need to have security, right? From China and Russia, our enemies. There's this nationalization that's happening, right? We're trying to reshore a lot of the manufacturing, which has been a theme. And there's a lot of money, there's policies that are changing and going after US-based companies, right? And EOSE and T1 Energy not only qualifies for tax credits and things like that, but also might have direct investments from the US government, like what we saw with Intel in last year. So that's really pretty much the foundation. This is like very simple. This is my investment thesis for next year, is obviously still focused on AIs. Like most venture capital and institutional investors will not buy anything if it's not AI related. There's like $0 going after anything that's non-AI. It's all the foundation of everything over the next decade is definitely going to be what happens with artificial intelligence. We might have AGI next year, which is what Elon Musk is very focused on in 2026. Batteries, Elon Musk is also focused on. Solar, Elon Musk is also focused on. And China has pretty much done a lot of the groundwork. Really just took everything that Elon was saying over the last 5 to 10 years, and they just said, okay, we'll just do that. And now the US is kind of in this catch-up phase of trying to catch up on energy. And by doing so, these other companies are going to benefit, right? So that's really what I'm looking at for 2026. The other little fringe sectors that I'm going to be looking at are going to be quantum as well as robotics, right? Like physical AI going from digital software into hardware, right? So quantum robotics hardware, I think that is the next stage. Physical AI manufacturing, we'll probably see people's perception change, and with that obviously money will flow into these other different types of sectors. So those are really like the three to four sectors that I'm really focused on, but I think energy is probably the safest and probably the most lucrative of all of them. The stocks that I'm looking at, of course, are going to be Nebius, which is this AI data infrastructure play, right? So this is just core to AI. You have to build out all of the supply, the compute that's required in order to be able to run your AI, train those models, the race to super intelligence. So very, very bullish on Nebius as a company. I think it's the best of all the neo clouds with the best management. They have a ton of senior engineers who've been building data centers for decades in their past time at Yandex. The CEO is really just doing this for the love of the game. He's declined compensation packages and things like that. They are expanding rapidly. They have the 13th best supercomputer in the world in Israel. They're diversified across Europe They're looking at maybe expanding into Saudi Arabia. Then they have data centers in the US. Not only do they own, but also co-locate data centers, which is really just like a license for them to make money by selling compute. But they're also fully integrated. They have the software layer. There's just a lot of bullish things going on right now with Nebius that I'm very bullish going into the end of this quarter and seeing what their next earnings reports looks like. Because every earnings report so far has seemed to rapidly change what their expected year-end 2026, how much capacity they're going to have online, how much contracted power, hyperscaler deals, and all of those things. They already have Meta and Microsoft, which you're seeing here, but very, very bullish on Nebius. And then EOSE, this one is breaking out of a multi-year bottoming pattern. You're starting to see a lot of activity, a lot of volume come in. We've had a bit of a consolidation here. We're breaking out of this consolidation downtrend and trying to form a higher high after forming a lower low. So we can see if we can see a trend change here, break over 16, break over 17, and then try to retrace back to 20. At $4.5 billion market cap, I do think this company in the future is going to trade well over $25 to $30. As, like you said before, there's that huge gap in utilization and capacity, and I think EOSE is going to help fill that gap as a US-based company and hopefully get a direct investment or favorable policy changes to help benefit this company as they are trying to scale rapidly. Now, all of these companies, they do have execution risk. They are scaling rapidly. They're high CapEx businesses. They're building out facilities. It's manufacturing, right? So usually in the beginning, they do have a lot of dilution. So you have to be very careful and take profit at key levels, sell into strength or sell covered calls. You could just hold long-term if you don't want to do that, but you are going to see a lot of movement in these stocks. 20, 30, 40% up and down moves is not unusual by any means. And then T1 Energy, same thing here, breaking out of this bottoming pattern. We came down and retested that area. So T1 Energy is a bit ahead of EOSE if you're just looking at it from a pure price action standpoint. It broke out, retested, and then it had this bigger move to the upside. It hit this larger volume shelf. $10 is like an area where I think there's going to be a lot of resistance, as that's the highest volume peak above this multi-year pattern. So you're going to see a lot of resistance come in around $10. But right now we just recently broke the uptrend. So I sold a lot of covered calls. I even bought some puts, as well as I still have some shares. And then my plan here is to see if we, after filling this gap, if we continue lower, to fill in some of this low volume shelf that we see here, right? So we'll see if we come back down to like 472 or around this low $5 area. I'll probably be buying back some of the covered calls that I have here or buying leaps around that area, because this company, they have their second facility for their solar cell manufacturing that's going to come online in the second half of 2026. And as that capacity starts to show up and come online, I think there's going to be a lot of buzz on this name. So I think it can perform very well in the second half of this year, but people might front run it. So I'm definitely buying and trying to trade in and accumulate as many shares as I can. Then these other fringe companies that I'm looking at is SkyWater Technologies. This is a semiconductor foundry. It's also US based. It's run up quite a bit. So I definitely wouldn't be just buying shares today because it's had such a big extended move. I would like to see this come back down and consolidate. It might have an extended push here first, but I would like it to come back down into like this low 20 to 24 range to see if we could accumulate more shares on SkyWater. And then Velo, this is a 3D metal printing company. It's also US based, right? So sticking with that theme as well. They do supply to SpaceX and a few other notable customers. But this one, it is starting to, this is also a turnaround company, right? So there's a lot of risk with all of these, but it is starting to push up a bit higher. This one is only 422 million market cap. So you have to be very careful not to get hooked on a rally. I think it can make this push first, but I would like to see it pull back quite a bit, back into like this 15 to $16, $17 range to start buying it again and just dollar cost averaging over time as I continue to do more research on the company, the management team, what their goals are in the future. And then CCCX, this is Churchill Capital Corp. It's a SPAC. They're going to be looking to merge with Inflection, which is going to be under INFQ once it completes its merger. With SPACs, sometimes you see some volatility in the beginning and it might have a bit of a sell-off. So I'm looking to kind of take it easy right now. I haven't scaled into a full position, but yeah, I'd be looking to see if this pulls back quite a bit first. It's been like a good buy under $15 to $16. So if we can get back down there, I'd be looking to buy as well, or just waiting until the SPAC merger is complete and then seeing where price settles before entering into that one. Now, if you aren't already, make sure you guys join the Discord. I do post all of my entries and exits in here for free. And then I'm also completely transparent with my portfolio, what I actually own. You can see all of these positions that I'm in right now today, as well as the options that I'm selling against it to protect myself or just generate consistent income. But we'll see where things open on Sunday. Right now, the market did have a bit of a breakout on Friday. We are continuing to see a little bit of the government just printing money. The Fed is starting to expand its balance sheet again. Trump wants to buy $200 billion in mortgages. And so right now they're running this as hot as possible. You can see we're consolidating and going into a wedge, and now we're trying to break out. So we might have like an impulse move here on the S&P 500, or maybe this is some sort of fake out. We'll have a drop first and then see where things go. And then same thing with tech, right? We're starting to go into this wedge. We're actually breaking out to the upside out of this upper trend line. So we'll see if we can get over this previous trend line and have a bit of a breakout there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.